Virginia Tech comes to Chapel Hill desperate to make the NCAA tournament. Carolina better be ready to match it or they're going to suffer their first home loss of the season.
This is Tyler Zeller, and you're listening to Locked On Tar Heels.
You are Locked On Tar Heels, your daily podcast on the UNC Tar Heels. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, what's up? It's Friday, February 27th, 2026. Welcome into the Locked On Tar Heels podcast, the only daily North Carolina show out there. I'm your host, Isaac Schade. You're joining me at the place to get your Tar Heels content every single day, all part of the Locked On Network, now the #1 sports podcast network out there. Thank you so much for making us your first listener watch to get this Friday going the right way. This episode is brought to you by our friends at 5 Hour Energy. Have your cake and drink it too. Birthday cake flavor is back, no fork needed. Vanilla cakey flavor, caffeinated kick, and no sugar. It's party time. Order it now at 5hourenergy.com or over at Amazon. Hey, I want to give a special shout out to all the everydayers who are here with us, all the members of the Locked On Tar Heels Discord, and our insiders as well. Coming up on the show today, we got to get ready for this Virginia Tech matchup coming up tomorrow, Saturday night, late. Get your naps in earlier in the day. So we'll look at, it's kind of desperation mode for Virginia Tech as they're clearly and fully on the NCAA tournament bubble. Carolina got to be ready to match that energy. We'll look at what's going well. Like can Seth Trimble, as he's processing the end of it, next to last game in Chapel Hill. It's crazy for him, so we'll look at that. We'll also get to our Four Corners preview for this matchup. How is Carolina going to guard Neo Avdalas? He is one of the most unicorn players in college basketball. We'll look getting to know Virginia Tech more, what they're doing this season, make game predictions, and we'll get to our weekend whip around all coming up on the show. Joining me to help do that is Tar Heel legend, my friend and yours, Mr. Pete Chilcutt. Going to be great to have him. Let's dive right into it. It's always so fun to have our guy Pete Chilcutt on. Pete, I think it's been since last summer when Coach Rob grabbed you at summer camp and you guys hopped on as a surprise since we've chatted. But, man, that was such a fun chat this summer, and grateful to have you on today.
Yes, Isaac. I'm always happy to be on. That was a great time we had over the summer. Looking forward to today.
It's going to be great. We're getting ready for Carolina hosting Virginia Tech, and I know a lot of people are looking ahead to Clemson. A lot of people are looking ahead to Duke, but my goodness, that is dangerous. Pete, here's the thing. Virginia Tech in absolute desperation mode right now. In Joe Lunardi's latest bracketology, they are next 4 out, so kind of similar to where the Tar Heels were sitting this time last year. So they're on the outside looking in, very bubbly. They're going to be in desperation mode. Pete, my question to you is, can Carolina match that? Can they find that level, and how difficult is that for a team to do?
You know, when you get this deep into a season, we were talking about this is getting to the end. 3 games left, 2 home games. We are fighting for a spot. I think we're in the tournament, but we're fighting for a higher seed. So desperation on their end, but I think there's desperation on our end. We don't want to go into this season with any more losses that we can't afford. Virginia Tech is talented.
Yes.
It's kind of weird with 18 teams in our ACC conference now, and playing some of these teams once. We're playing them for the first time, and it's almost March. It's crazy to think that this is the conference we live in now, where we don't play these teams more often. You don't get to play them twice and get to know what they do and don't do. So it's a challenge from that standpoint. I don't want our guys to overlook them, and I think we're very fortunate not to be playing them in Blacksburg. That's a tough place to play. I'm glad we got them at home. I'm glad we're coming off some wins that I think are just impressive. I don't know how else you can look at these wins we had with Caleb out and not feel like this is a good version of the Tar Heels, as opposed to when Caleb went out. I think a lot of people may have almost written us off, but this has proved that we are deeper than people thought, and the fact that we have a chance to kind of get into the top tier of the ACC is a goal for us. So yeah, they're desperate, but I think we have that desperation again. We want that double bye if we can get it. We have 3 games left. I think it's going to be a great game for us to get out there and get after it. And I'm hoping that the team buys into all the stuff we're talking about.
Man, absolutely. Pete, that's so good. Yeah, we'll talk more about those ACC standings later. Big stretch obviously coming up for NC State as well. They've got games Saturday and Monday. And Pete, you're absolutely right. I think with the senior leadership of Seth Trimble, with the coaching staff, they're going to have these guys locked and loaded and ready to match that desperation. I thought that was something that Carolina didn't do well down in Miami, when Miami was kind of at a very bubbly spot in that moment, and Carolina just wasn't ready for it. And I think they probably learned a lot from that game that will help in this one as Virginia Tech comes to town. Now, speaking of desperation mode, Pete, I want to get into your mind as a player, because we've seen since halftime of the Syracuse game, where the report is that multiple players and coaches kind of challenged Seth at halftime of that game. His numbers in the three halves of basketball since then have been very, very impressive. But this, in addition to that, you kind of get to the end here where he's only got 5 guaranteed games left in his career.
Yeah,
between the 3 regular season and at least each of the tournaments. How does the reality of the impending end of your career set in your own kind of desperation mode there, whether it's talking about Seth or thinking about your own experience?
Well, it is a great experience to go through. First of all, I mean, when you go through the program, and I know, even though he's not going to admit it, he's looking forward to that last home game. It's going to be super important for him. But this whole stretch for him with 3 games left, and you don't see it anymore. The fact that he made one of the few guys we ever have that does this again. I know from my experience that I remember as a freshman in 1987, and I was told, my year, because I had redshirted, my graduation, my year would be 1991 that I got out of Carolina. I thought that seemed like an eternity. So here we are thinking that you have forever at a place, and you have all this, 3 or 4 years to get better. And now it's here. And we've seen that growth with Seth throughout the program. We've seen him always be a great defender. We've seen him grow into someone who can make those big shots now and just take the ball more confidently to the basket and develop so much as a player. He's in the community with his investments. He's a Carolina guy through and through. It's going to be a huge challenge for him not to let those emotions take over and kind of go back to his core of what he does and not try to do anything different, because even though he's a senior, that's a huge amount of pressure. I think, though, from my standpoint as a senior, when I was here, you've been through the fire. You've been in Duke. You've been in the NCAA tournament, in the ACC tournament. I don't think you're going to see any play from him that's not what we're used to seeing. The solid defense, the shots that are kind of going to the basket, being aggressive. And to be honest, I'm a little jealous. Like, it's a great feeling to have that career end up at Carolina. Like, I'm jealous, but I'm also very happy for him, because, again, he may be one of the last few we see.
Man, it's wild to think about, but yes, potentially one of the last of a dying breed. Man, Pete, that you're getting me in my emotions here, thinking about how Tuesday night's going to feel on senior night and all of that. But we'll get there. But before we get to that, I think that's the dangerous thing, is the potential to overlook a game like this, right? Carolina coming off that massive win against Louisville, proving, as you kind of alluded to earlier, hey, even without Caleb, it's not just that we can beat Pittsburgh or Syracuse, we can knock off Louisville. And so how do you build on that success while also not looking ahead to Clemson, who you're tied with in the standings right now, and obviously also not looking ahead to Duke next Saturday night? My hope was that Carolina could win at least 2 of these 3 home games in this 3-game stretch. On paper, they've already won the most difficult one. And so, Pete, now I'm getting greedy and I won all 3. But how do you take it one game at a time and not turn an eye to Clemson or Duke?
Well, I think that starts with the players as having that core, but I think it really goes back to the coaches, and that's where I have the confidence that the coaching staff is hammering down. This is the most important game. They're not looking ahead. They're not going to let the players look ahead. And I think we have enough senior leadership, and to be honest, we have enough guys on this team that have been through the fire at other schools. We don't have a lot of Tar Heels on our from last year, obviously on our roster, but the guys that we picked up, were upperclassmen. We got a lot of guys with experience, and this is a very important game. But I think it's just going to be approached by the coaching staff as this is the game. Like, there's no other games right now. And I've heard Coach Hubert talk. I've been to practices, and there's not an ounce of looking ahead ever with that coaching staff. And it doesn't matter if 2 games away is Duke or the last home game with Clemson, or even if it's the NCAA tournament. This team, they're getting preached on and blasted with the same message that we have to be here and be present and take care of business. And again, I guess the flip side of not liking the transfer portal is you get instant experience when you do it. Yeah. It may not be Carolina guys coming in, but these guys have all been through the fire and know these games are important. And for lack of a better word, they're professional. They're more professional now than they used to be.
And I guess that's that balance, Pete, of you want some of these uber talented freshmen in the vein of a Caleb Wilson, or, thinking back to last year, Ian and Drake and some of the guys that are coming in next year. But also to be able to balance that with the senior leadership. I think of what great leadership Cormac and Harrison Ingram brought 2 seasons ago. So I'm right with you with what you're talking about there. And so very grateful for Henri Veesaar and what he brings to the table, and Kyan Evans, his NCAA tournament experience last year where they almost knocked off Maryland in that second round game. Crazy stuff. So Pete, I'm curious your thoughts. Carolina's 16-0 at home right now. When we get to Tuesday night, Carolina and Clemson have finished. Are the Tar Heels undefeated at home, 18-0 to wrap up the 25-26 season?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I feel that way on the heels of these last 2 games that we won without Caleb. That showed me a lot. And I'm a Carolina guy through and through. And I believe in the coaching staff. I believe in the team. But I was worried. You just don't know how teams are going to react when they lose somebody as important as Caleb Wilson. And then for a while there, when we didn't have Veesaar in the game as well, those 2 guys as a duo are irreplaceable. But I think we all saw we get half of the super duo back, and we have something we can work with. And I'm pretty confident after seeing how we reacted. No, it wasn't just a 1-game span. I think the first win without them was impressive, but the Louisville game, to do that against that team who is they're just dang right dangerous. That I was happy. When they hit that first little lead in the first half. I mean, I expected it. I mean, I've seen that all year. Yep. I mean, they beat State by 40 points, and State's a good team.
They are. And Michael Brown Jr. went off in that game. Yes.
Yeah. And the fact that we had a deficit and then came back and took the lead and had again, we had that lead where we didn't quite hold it, but we almost had a 20-point turnaround in that game at some point. Pretty impressive without your best player. So that's why I'm feeling confident that I'm always going to say no matter who suits up, within reason, I feel confident this team is going to take care of business for the last 2 home games.
All right. Well, as we've been talking about, 1 game at a time with it, and that starts with Virginia Tech. As Pete said, multiple guys have been stepping up in the absence of Caleb and Henri for the 2 games he was out. Who's doing that? Well, that's part of what we're going to talk about in our 4 Corners preview coming up here in just a second. Right after I tell you about 5-Hour Energy. Hey, let me welcome you to the 5-Hour Energy Flavor Draft. We're looking at every aspect of the draft to let you know which tasty flavors are the best and which ones might be sleepers that you need to check out as well. The board is set, the flavors are ready, but only one is going to take the top spot. 5-Hour Energy shots give you a boost with 0 sugar. Here's my number 1 flavor. Let me tell you about it. It is strawberry banana. Man, that's my favorite smoothie flavor, my favorite milkshake flavor, my favorite yogurt flavor. I just love it. And so when I learned that 5-Hour Energy has that, I was all in. The great strawberry flavor up front. You get that banana taste on the back end. Man, it's so, so good. But I want to tell you about my sleeper as well. That is peach mango. I'm a Georgia boy. I love peach flavored anything. Give it to me. But I love to get down to the Caribbean. I love the taste of a tropical fruit like a mango. That flavor combination is epic and it's underrated. Find your new favorite flavor of 5-Hour Energy shots just like me. You can do it available online at 5hourenergy.com or over at Amazon. This episode's also brought to you by our friends at Game Time. The biggest stretch of the college basketball season is almost here, like a week left in the regular season. It's crazy. Buzzer beaters, bracket busters, those unforgettable moments that everyone's talking about the next day. Being there live for something like that, that's bucket list stuff. But it's also often hard to get tickets for that. You got long queues, you got prices jumping up on you at checkout. Man, don't worry about it, because Game Time is here to take care of you. They give fans the advantage with constant innovation. It's how you unlock amazing tickets and experiences in just a few taps. Incredibly simple to use. Game Time guarantee means 100% legitimate tickets delivered on time at the best price. And I love that what you see is what you pay. No surprise hidden fees. I was looking ahead at tickets for tomorrow for Virginia Tech. Cheapest ticket is $76 to get in the door, but Tuesday is Carolina hosts Clemson. That's only $29. You can go to that game for $29. You guys, that's crazy, and that's much cheaper than anything you're going to find for the game at Cameron next Saturday. The cheapest there is $1,883. Yikes. You could go to this game 87 times against Clemson before you get there. So take the guesswork out of buying college basketball tickets with Game Time. Download the app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Thanks again for making Locked On Tar Heels your first listen or watch of the day, and making the Locked On Network the #1 sports podcast network out there. It's all because of all of you who are here hanging out with Pete and I today, and we're grateful for it. If you haven't already done so, go check out our brand new Everydayer Club. You get ad-free versions of the show, one-on-one texting with me, special all-access episodes of Locked On Heels, and more. Check it out. That link is in the show notes. It's time for our Four Corners preview, where we pay homage to Coach Smith's vaunted Four Corners offense, and it's just a way to keep that alive all the time. And man, so it's an honor to have a gentleman who played for the esteemed Coach Smith today as we do that. So here's how we're going to handle it. Pete has a Four Corners for us. I'll add a couple bonuses on the back end of it. But Pete, why don't you kick us off with the first of your Four Corners?
Will do, Isaac. I think the easy one, and I'll start with the easy one because it's pretty dang obvious. We were all worried about how this team would progress without the front court being what it was all season, and we can't deny that Zayden High has come in and been a force, not only with his production, but plays that you don't get credit for, just the hard-nosed plays and diving on the floor and getting the team fired up, the crowd fired up. You can't replicate that, so it's not like it's something he's faking. Like, I've always kind of known he's had that edge. I've seen it in practice, but it's one of those things you just never know. Is it ever gonna be seen to the Carolina family? Yeah. And I'm super happy for him. And I've getting a lot of comments, like people like surprised, and I'm always saying things like, hey, you would wonder who's getting recruited by North Carolina. Like, if they don't play, you're making an assumption that they can't play. And what happens is you get buried behind talent at Carolina. And I know firsthand how that feels. There's a lot of talent that comes into Carolina, and it's just hard to play. So yeah, give him credit for fighting through all the hardships he had to do to stay focused, stay on the team, and work hard, and come in this time where we really needed him immensely. And if he had not played well, there would have been a lot of people who would have been like, yeah, that's what I thought. But the fact that he's come in and just done what he's done and worked hard, he's earned respect from a lot of his teammates. They probably already knew, but a lot of the fans, the coaching staff. Again, to be able to produce like that when we really needed him, and really almost, inspire the entire team because of the way he plays. When you play hard, it makes other people want to do the same. So Zayden High continuing to play that way throughout the end of the season and into the tournament. Like, I think he's earned some playing time now, even when Veesaar comes back. I mean, when Caleb Wilson comes back.
100%. Like, there's something to be said, man, for showing up when your name and your number is called and doing it. And the fact that he's done so consistently for 4 games now, Pete, is so impressive to me. I've speculated, because we've seen glimpses of it prior, but there would be careless turnovers, or he'd get going too fast with too much of an edge. I've speculated, and I'm anxious to get your thought on it, that having the opportunity to start those 2 games where he knew there wasn't much depth behind him and he could just set, has now given him the confidence in these 2 games where he's come back off the bench as Henri has returned to keep doing that. Is there something to that, the moments he got as a starter?
Absolutely. And again, firsthand knowledge here. It is hard to implement your will on a game when you get spot minutes. And what I mean by spot minutes is you are coming in for 2 or 3 minutes, and if you make a mistake, you're coming out.
Yeah.
Like, it happens to everyone when you're not a starter. Like, you may not get the minutes you're used to getting, and it's really hard to produce or to do anything that you normally would do if you can't get those extended minutes. So the knowing that he's starting, and I'm pretty sure the coaching staff has let him know during that stretch, you're our. I mean, look around you. You're our guy. Like, you're going to get the minutes. They stay out of foul trouble, and you'll be on the court as long as you want. And I think that builds a little bit of the self-confidence that you needed, especially if you're having a little bit of the nerves. I mean, imagine when he's thinking, he's coming out and playing. All of a sudden, he's starting. He's playing these big minutes where he hasn't done it for his career. So I think the coaching staff is keeping him, motivated with the idea that you're going to be out there as long as you can, stay out there without foul trouble. And I think it really helps that he knows he's starting for sure.
Pete, keep going. What's Four Corners point number 2?
Number 2, I'm going to go in order of kind of impact for me. So number 2, I think is I'm going to go with defend the 3. And the reason is just when I think we've gotten comfortable this year a couple times, and I think before that California road trip, before we played SMU, I think we felt pretty good about our team. We had some good wins, and we were kind of doing some good things. And then we got these teams that came out and made us look like they were playing horse, and there's no defense. And again, D1 basketball players, I don't care what school they play for, they're very talented. And if you don't defend the 3 or play defense in general, they can expose that. And I think, and I'm not going to point fingers at anybody in particular or even the coaching staff, but those 3 games was what happens when you don't do what you need to do to take away any aspect of a team. So the 3-pointers are very powerful in today's game. Everyone seems like they have a lot of guys that can shoot them. And, I checked the stats. I mean, Virginia Tech shoots is just a little bit less than we do in quantity. So, I think we shoot a lot. So, I mean, they're going to be putting some threes up. And the three ball is a game changer. That can keep them in the game. So, very important for us to defend those threes.
And they are 92nd in the country, shooting at 35.6%, which is a good solid average. Their kind of leader in that regard is Ben Hammond, one of their guards. Pete. And so I'm right with you. Carolina had gotten misguided, but I think we saw, particularly against Louisville, how Carolina, all the credit to the staff in the world for putting a good game plan together. And then all the credit to the guys for, after a couple minutes of going under some screens and struggling, really executed the plan well, the final 3 quarters of that game on Monday night. So Pete, I love it. I'm right with you. Four Corners point number 3. What is it?
Number 3, and again, in order of, I want to save my best for last. The number 3, though, is something that I'm still very wary of. I don't think we've done this well the entire season. And the good news is we've gotten to some good leads against some good teams, but we haven't been able to hold it. So getting a lead, and I by a lead like a 10 plus point lead, can be a game changer. But we let these teams get back in the games. I think more times than not, it turns into 1 or 2 possession game at the end of the game. Yeah. Very important that we do all the right things to get that lead. We need to be able to take care of that lead, and if not hold it, build it a little bit. And I think that's our next step to becoming an elite team. Like, again, good teams were up 10 points and then we blink and it's 3 points. If we can hold those leads, that's going to be a game changer in the rest of the season into the tournament.
And I think that, people ask, hey, Carolina's record is good. They've got some good Q1 wins. Why are they lower in the computer analytics, like KenPom and Torvik and the net? It's because of the margin of it. They haven't been able to grow these leads. And that's something that algorithms take into account. So that's part of it as well. And we need to see that killer mentality. Pete, you said you've been saving the best for last. I'm excited to hear the last one. Give us Four Corners point number 4.
Well, I think obviously we've all seen it. We've seen it lately, but to give him credit, I think it's very important to say that the play of Luka lately has been outstanding in a lot of different ways. And I'm not saying he's out there scoring 25 points, and that just is, there's just so much more to the game of basketball. But if you remember some of the early Luka when he first came on board, and people thought he was a shooter, and all of a sudden he's missing these shots, and then he thinks he's a scorer, and he's shooting too much or bad shots. And we didn't take into effect that he got legally allowed to play.
Yes.
He got thrown on the court, speaking different language than most of our guys, and coming from a different country at a young age. And sure, he played professionally in whatever league he was on, but this is a hard transition for anybody, much less a guy coming from a different country. And kind of given, I think his expectations were he's this guy that can do absolutely everything. But I don't think anybody really knew anything about him. I know I didn't. And that's all in practice. So the fact that you saw that early, what you've seen over this last stretch, pay attention. If you haven't been watching him, don't just look at the box score and say,
yes.
he scored 10 points. Watch how he's playing. Watch his decision-making. Watch his confidence with the ball. He's doing the right thing now. He's making the right plays at the right time. He's obviously shooting better, but I think that comes with the confidence in taking better shots. Our front court is outstanding. We know that. We know our back court has a lot of different weapons. If you throw in him playing this way, with Seth how he's been playing, with Dixon how he's been playing, with guys that come off the bench like Powell and Kyan Evans, so many guys, so much talent. But Luka by himself, besides Seth's last game, Luka has been our best backcourt player in the last stretch, and probably not getting the credit for it. The numbers haven't blown you away, but he's kind of been the glue out there, and he's a difference maker. If we can get him to do that rest of the season and hold a lead, and get Caleb back and have Zayden playing this way, all these things add up to a really, really strong run in the tournament.
100%. And to put some numbers on what Pete's talking about, you guys, in the 4 games that Caleb has been out, Luka Bogavac's averaging 12.3 points a game, shooting 50% from 2, 44.2% from the field, 36.8 from 3. So it's the decision making is incredible. It's so interesting, Pete, because when you think about Seth getting to the rim, his athleticism allows him to do it at will. Luka just has these crafty, old man YMCA vibes getting to the rim, and it's so good. He gets there, and he's been finishing at a high level. And so, man, I think what he's been contributing, Jaydon, everyone notices it. We all catch it. But, man, do not miss what Luka has been doing. Curious to see how he can do it again on Saturday. I love it, Pete. Great Four Corners preview. Let me add 2 bonuses. Boni? I don't know. What's the plural of bonuses? There we go. Number 1, we've talked about Seth Trimble a little bit already and his recent onslaught in the 3 halves of basketball, second half of Syracuse, and Monday night against Louisville. In the 11 halves of basketball that he played in February, prior to that, he scored a total of 52 points, shot 31% from the field, and was averaging 4.7 points, Pete, per half, not per game. But in the 3 halves since, he has shot 72.7% from the field and is averaging 14.3 points a half. That change is crazy. Yeah. And so I'm very curious to see, can he maintain that attack mode, score first, as Coach Davis has asked him to do, look to score, and if help comes, whatever it is, drop off for a big, kick out for a 3. I'm very excited to see how Seth handles that Saturday against Virginia Tech.
Yeah, and I feel comfortable with him because of his experience and how he's been doing those numbers that you brought up, how he's got those numbers is, Seth has hit that big shot against Duke. But Seth isn't a shooter. I'm not even, and it's not an insult, but you don't have him, out there as your 40% shooter. But he hits tough shots. He can do what no one else in this team can really do, and that is get to the hole and use his physicality. You saw that a lot against Louisville. A lot of the N1s and the free throws and just finishing. I think if you get him in any kind of game where there's money at the end of the game, when the money's on the line, you want him out there. You want him with the ball. Think of him and Luka now playing off each other, and throw in our other guys who are starting to play better. But it does start with Seth because he has the ball so much in his hands, but he makes such good decisions. And if he keeps that mentality about getting to the basket, like you said, it's kind of scary what he can do.
It is scary, not for the Tar Heels, but for the opposition, and I'm here for that. All right, Pete, here's the last one. We've been very Tar Heels-centric in our Four Corners preview. I want to look at one thing on the Virginia Tech side. How will North Carolina choose to guard Neo Avdalas? This dude I am kind of enamored with. He started the season very hot. He's kind of fallen off a bit, but he is a 6'9" playmaker. We saw a couple of those guys in college basketball last year. He's kind of the only real true unicorn in that mold this year for my money's worth. And as I think about how Carolina is going to defend him, if Caleb were healthy, obviously you have Caleb and Henri in the front court guarding the 4 and the 5 and Toby Lawal and Armani Hansberry. And then that allows you to put Jarin Stevenson and his size and length onto Neo Avdalas. You don't have that luxury right now. So I'm guessing maybe it's Luka who's got a little bit of size, but can he keep up? I think Seth, obviously, you typically put him on your best perimeter opposition, but Seth's given up half a foot to this dude. And so I'm curious what Coach Davis and the staff choose to do, Pete.
Yeah, and I don't have that insight, but I'll tell you what I would do.
That's what I want.
It's probably just as good as the coaching staff. No, I am. This team has such a variety of defenders. You mentioned Jarin Stevenson. Zayden has now come in. He can play defense. You got Seth with the strength and a little bit of the size. You got Luka, and you throw into the fact that, and I think it'll be the same for this team. We switch everything. Like there's so much switching going on. It's almost like in the old days, they're like, well, Magic's going to guard Larry Bird, and that's going to be the matchup. Like there's so much switching that you almost got to have multiple guys ready to guard him, and I think that's what's going to happen. You're going to give him a special notice, and they're going to have so much stuff they're going to go over with him as far as the scouting report. We'll never know all the stuff that the players know about him, his tendencies and what he likes to do, but I guarantee you the players that will be guarding him will know that. And that's where you kind of get into the game and say, hey, are we focused? Are we locked in? If so, he'll hit some shots. I mean, the good players still hit shots. Like, we're not going to take him out of the game completely. Whoopsie. But I got a little excited there. But we're going to be able to play to our standard about what we're making them take tough shots.
Yeah.
Like no one likes a guy who is a wide open 3. But if he takes 4 dribbles and does 3 moves to get a 3, then great shot. Let's go play some offense. Like you just got to make him work for it, and I think we will.
100%. The good news is he's not a great 3-point shooter, so get out, force him, take away his dominant hand, do whatever you need to do. We saw great examples of that on Monday against Michael Brown Jr., against Ryan Conwell, obviously not as big as Avdalas, but great stuff there. Well, it's not just Avdalas. He's got a bunch of teammates. Know the Hokies a little bit. Pete and I'll make some game predictions, and I'll give you the weekend whip around all coming up in just a second. Right after I tell you about Coast. Coast Pay is giving Locked On College listeners, get this, up to $2,000 credit for your business when you get started today. If you manage a crew like construction, HVAC, landscaping, any operation with trucks on the road, you already know how messy gas and materials, that spending, how crazy it can get. Well, cards get shared, receipts disappear on you. The end of the month turns into an absolute headache. Good news, Coast Pay fixes all of that. Coast Pay is the modern fuel card and an expense management tool built specifically for fleets. Fuel, maintenance, materials, all on one card and instant visibility. Every transaction shows literally the moment it happens. No surprises. If someone fuels up at an odd time or tries to buy something outside their limit, man, you're going to know it instantly. Real-time alerts so you always know who's spending what and where. Automatic receipt capture. It works anywhere Visa is accepted. It's so great. Built for operators who don't have time to chase the paperwork. Right now, Coast Pay is offering our listeners up to $2,000 credit when you get started at coastpay.com/lockedoncollege. Go to coastpay.com/lockedoncollege to see how you can earn up to $2,000 credit. Terms apply. The Coast Visa commercial credit card is issued by Celtic Bank. All card accounts are subject to credit approval. Next to last home game of the year. Tar Heels hosting Virginia Tech. Tomorrow, Saturday, February 28th, inside the Dean E. Smith Center, 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. At least it ain't 9. We'll say it that way. But go ahead and get your naps in. building. Going to be great stuff. This game will be on ESPN2 coming after TCU at Kansas State. A sea of purple is what you will see if you turn the game on. We don't yet have the FanDuel line, but Carolina favored by 9 at both KenPom and Torvik. All time, Carolina leads the series 74-17, which is crazy. Carolina has won the last 2 and 6 of 8. Mike Young is their head coach. Hard to believe he's now in his 7th season. It feels like he was just at Wofford yesterday, but here we go. They were picked 12th. The Hokies were in the ACC preseason. They're currently tied for 10th. As a reminder, and Pete, I want to bring you in a little bit here on this. Carolina tied for 4th right now with NC State, who holds a tiebreaker over Carolina, and with Clemson, who the Tar Heels will play on Tuesday. State has at Notre Dame Saturday. They host Duke on Monday on Big Monday on ESPN, and then they close out hosting Stanford for Clemson. They host Louisville Saturday. They're at Carolina Tuesday, and then they host Georgia Tech. Pete, as a player, are you doing scoreboard watching during this, or are you trying to stay as locked in as you can on just what you and your teammates are doing?
Well, that's a great question. And my perspective is, as a player, I don't remember too much looking at the standings. Like, I knew where we stood, but I wasn't worried about win this amount of games and we'll get the double bye, or win this and we lose our tiebreaker. Like, my player approach, and I hope the guys are locked in the same way, is that we have a game against Virginia Tech. We're going to take care of business and look at the standings. Like, we're just going to win the rest of our games. Like, we don't think about what else we lose. Like, I think we're going to be locked in. I think the coaching staff, obviously the fans know the standings and know the ramifications, but as a player, and maybe my way of thinking is old school, but it was just game on, what game we're playing. Okay, that's the game we're looking at. We're not looking at the schedule as much as you might think.
Yeah, because then, I mean, it's like, regardless of what seed we get, tell me who I'm about to play in the ACC tournament, when to be there, and we'll show up and roll the ball out and play, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Nice stuff. I love it. Great insight. In terms of rankings at some of the computer numbers, Virginia Tech comes in 53rd in the net. That makes this a quad 2 game. Right now, Carolina only has 2 quad 2 games on the ledger. One of the quad 2s fell to quad 3 overnight, and so that's where things sit. They are 58th at KenPom, 53rd at Torvik. Both the offensive and defensive efficiency around in the 50s, 60s, that range. Virginia Tech comes in 18-10 on the season, 7-8 play. No real notable wins in non-con play. They beat Providence. They beat Colorado State, Kyan Evans' former team. They beat South Carolina. And in non-con play, they lost to St. Mary's and VCU. Those might not be teams you know all that well, but those are both top 50 in the net, and so really good teams there. In terms of their best wins overall, in ACC play, oddly enough, they started by far their best win of the season, knocked off Virginia in 3 overtimes to kick off ACC play. For Virginia, that and the Carolina loss are literally their only losses in conference play. Their second best win of the season was they won at Clemson. So really good win for Virginia Tech there. In terms of ACC losses, they've lost at SMU, at Louisville, at State, at Miami, lost at home to Stanford, Duke, and Florida State. So, Pete, here's something else about Virginia Tech. They're coming into this thing having not played since last Saturday. They've been off a little bit. One of their main players, Tyler Johnson, has been out since December 20th. There's been speculation about him returning. He had started every game since then. So I'm curious to see what happens there. But does that give any sort of edge to Virginia Tech? Carolina obviously played on Monday, a couple fewer days of rest.
You know, the rest thing may matter a little bit. I mean, I don't know if that's something you can quantify as going to lead them to a win or not, but it may make them more competitive. I think the better mindset they have is they get a chance to knock off Carolina.
Yeah.
And I think they can probably win this game. They've seen the tape of us giving up these shots. They've seen they're not showing them the tape against Duke at home or against Louisville. They're showing them the tapes where these guys are getting what they want. And they're telling these guys, hey, you do this, this, and this, and we can score. And I'd be telling my team if I was coaching against Carolina. And so I think they're going to be confident that they can score, and then going to keep that game close and have a chance at the end. So is that an edge? No, that's what literally every team comes in and trying to do. But I think they're going to have that mindset, and in today's game, it's valid. Like
Yeah.
you gotta compete and earn the victory. So I think coming in with that edge is what we expect from them.
And Mike Young's a great basketball coach. He'll have these guys ready to go. And part of it is, as we talk about their starters here, their front court is a little bit undersized as compared to Carolina's. Both Toby Lawal and Armani Hansberry, their starting 4 and 5, are both 6'8", but they've got a little bit of heft. Lawal is 215, same size as Jarin Stevenson, who he'll go up against. Armani Hansberry is 240, so we'll have a little bit of a weight edge on Henri, but not a ton. But obviously Henri has the size advantage, so we'll see how that plays out. Hansberry is the leading scorer at 14.7 a game. Lawal is their leading rebounder at 8.8. He's that kind of crafty guy that makes me a little bit nervous, a pretty athletic guy at 6'8". We've already talked about Neo Avdalas, who starts at the 3 at the small forward. Again, he is a 6'9", 215-pound freshman. He's their leading assist man at 4.9 a game. And then in the backcourt, the point guard is Ben Hammond. He's 5'11", 170. And Jalen Bedford starts at the 2. He's 6'4", 190. Coming off the bench, they really, with Tyler Johnson having been hurt, really go 7 deep. The other 2 guys are Jaydon Schutt, who used to be at Duke, and then Christian Gerdak, a big man in the front court. They got a couple other guys that might play a few minutes, but it's that main 7 that we expect to see. Pete, does that smaller but kind of hefty front court give you any concern?
When every team is going to have their own unique build and how they run their team, I'm concerned, and I'm going to pull out a Coach Smithism. I don't know if people realize the difference in coaching today versus yesteryear, and how the coaches approach games. And remember, Coach Smith had just got the 3-point line introduced when I got into college, but we would talk about the other team for about 5 minutes. And the message was, don't worry about what they're going to do, control what we can do.
That's
and
right.
So, and that mindset has some value. Today's game is different. We got to make sure we know where the shooters are for sure. But I think if Carolina plays how Carolina's going to play, how we want to play, which is use our bigs, rebound the ball. Coach Davis preaches it, inside out, take good shots, play good defense. Like, we take care of that business. And it doesn't matter who we're playing. It's harder against certain schools for sure. But that's how Carolina basketball was built. Play Carolina basketball. Run the transition, fast break, turnovers, rebound. It's not rocket science. It's harder said than done. But that's what we got to do.
Man, I love it. So, Pete, given all that, let's make some predictions on this game. As you said, I'm with you. I believe that if Carolina plays Carolina basketball the way these guys have done, if they can continue to play the way they did Monday night, tough-nosed on both ends of the floor, they should be in good shape. How do you see this one playing out?
I see us having a good start to the game, getting the crowd behind them. That crowd has been fantastic. Going back to that Duke game, I try to explain to people that you can't explain how loud that crowd can get any other game besides the Duke game, but they've been outstanding this year, getting behind the Tar Heels. I think we have a good start to the game. We're going to fall back a little bit. We're going to give up some of that lead going into halftime. We'll still be up at half, but I think this is a game where we finally, in the second half, we pour it on.
Let's go.
And we have a big win because we finally figure out to be successful from here on out. We gotta build the lead, not lose it.
I love it. I'm with you. You just laid out a game script that we've seen a couple times before the season, but hopefully, as you said, not giving things away late. I'm going to go Tar Heels 81, Virginia Tech 69. Give me a 12-point lead. I'd love something healthier than that, but hey, we'll take the double-digit victory. Let me run everyone quickly through the weekend whip around what else is going on in Carolina athletics this weekend. Women's basketball comes in 23-6, 12-4, ranked 21st in the nation. As you listen to or watch this, they played at Virginia last night, Thursday, 7 p.m. Pete and I are recording before that game tipped, so we don't know how it turned out. But Pete, let's just go ahead and give the ladies a victory. They're rolling a little bit right now. But then the big one coming up Sunday, the ladies hosting number 12 Duke in Carmichael. That's at noon on ESPN. So, man, good luck to Coach Banghart and the ladies there. Let's go to tennis, where the women 13-1, 2-0 in ACC play. They're third in the nation. They are at SMU Sunday at noon. The men 7-3 on the season. They host Stanford today, Friday at 4. Baseball and softball are rolling. The men, the baseball team, the Diamond Heels, 8th in the nation at 8-1-1. They had that tie against ECU that got rained out last Sunday. They beat North Carolina A&T and VCU midweek. This weekend, they host Lemoyne. Should be an opportunity to get some guys some at-bats and sweep a weekend series there. Softball opens their ACC play this weekend against Boston College, Friday at 6, Saturday 1, Sunday noon. On the lacrosse, both teams are cooking right now. The men are 4-0, second in the nation. They've got the ACC Ivy League Challenge. They're at Penn today, Friday at 5 p.m., and then they're at Princeton Sunday at noon. Women, number 1 in the nation. You know it well. They're 4-0, 2-0 in ACC play. They host FSU today at 5. Only other action, gymnastics and track and field. The gym ladies are at LSU over the weekend. Purple and gold, that's going to be at 4 p.m. Down in Baton Rouge against Arizona, number 2 LSU and number 3 Alabama. A big test, a big challenge for the gym heels there. And then track and field has the ACC Indoor Championships going on through Saturday. That's up in Boston, and so hopefully good showing there at the indoor thing. Pete, it's always great to hear all the great athletics action going on for the Heels, my man.
Yeah, Carolina is much more. I mean, basketball is important, football is important, but there's so many excellent sports at this university. We're truly lucky to be around all that stuff.
So if you're around this weekend, don't just go to the basketball game. Go check out some of the other great action, whether it's getting over to the Bosch or Karen Shelton Stadium, wherever it is, and go cheer on the Heels. Thanks so much for being with Pete and I here today on the show. A reminder, as always, we will be live tomorrow night after the game. Yeah, I know it's going to be late, but who cares? We're hopefully going to be having a party, not a therapy session. So come join us. Link, I'll post it out on social media and you can find us there. If you haven't subscribed to the show on YouTube and audio, do it now so you don't miss a second of Locked On Tar Heels. If you haven't checked out our Everydayer Club or the Locked On Tar Heels Discord, those links are in the show notes. We'd love to see you there. It's always a great day to be a Tar Heel. We'll talk to you again tomorrow night after the game, but until then, peace out.